Greetings and welcome. Yes. It is June
Salutations
8th. Okay.
and hellos out there in the universe. Thanks for joining us today. Thursday, June 20th, 2024 on the Agree to Disagree show here on the New American Media, because the old American media has failed you. Speaking of failing me, I believe that my audio is probably my internal microphone. Let me switch over to
Okay.
creating this.
My green screen is failing me. My disappearing chair. Okay. Right, there we go.
Yeah, my green screen always fails me. I've tried it. I don't know what needs to happen. But anyway, I digress. Thanks for joining us today. We are trying to be as honest to our 3 p.m. timeline as possible. We do the best that we can. Blake and I are independent journalists who have lives that we lead, and occasionally we show up 21 minutes later than usual, but it's all good. Thanks for joining us today, roughly around the same time and same place, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 3 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much. Make sure you're following Blake on X at TV's Blake Walley and his archive at The Next Level News. Blake, how are things with you in your neck of the world, sir?
Couldn't be better, Brian. Well, actually, no, that's a lie, but it's all good. Can't complain. I'm here. I'm here
What's
for
that
the
phrase?
greatest shit
It's
show in the
man.
galaxy. Right.
Yes, exactly. Well, we're going to talk about what's going on now, including the latest cheap fake video. I love this cheap fake thing. Somebody said this tests really well. Let's start using it. Don't they know that every phrase they try to concoct is taken and used against them? Remember when fake news was something Hillary was calling Trump and his supporters? You can't even remember back to this. That was something they started. I think the same is going to happen with cheap fakes. So we're going to talk about Biden and his SUV. We're also going to talk about the plan in 2024. What are the Democrats trying to do? Are they trying to cheat? And why are they protecting dirty voter rolls? You wouldn't protect dirty socks. You would wash them. Who protects dirty things? Dirty people. We'll talk about that. Also, how many events? Hold on, let's see. There are at least 5 staged events Dems could use to cheat 24. Okay. We're also going to discuss how many staged events Democrats could use to cheat in 2024. Also, why are the pundits panicking about potential punishment? Pundits panicking, potential punishment? I feel like that's something out of an Eminem album. So why are the pundits panicking about potential punishment if Trump wins?
It's because they earned it, and treason has consequences for staging a coup.
Sorry to spoil that one for you.
Pushing propaganda for the regime.
Peddling propaganda. Pushing and peddling propaganda. Putrid propaganda for the pathetic regime. Also, should the San Francisco mayor be disqualified? We'll tell you. Take a guess why the San Francisco mayor could be disqualified. Blake, if imagine we didn't know what this story is. What would you guess a reason to disqualify a mayor would be? You know, like if you were just throwing a dart, picking a name out of a hat, like what would you guess? You write it down. I don't know. It's trivia night. What's the most likely reason a mayor would be disqualified?
Probably the the homeless problem, the drug problem. Poop everywhere from people or seals, pigeons.
Seals and pigeons.
Poop, drugs, and homeless people, and just major crime. There's all kinds of things I could think of that would a mayor would step down, but none of those are the reason why.
None of those are the reasons why. Yet we're going to give it a shot. We're gonna discuss the reason why. Also, there's some odds and ends with Disney, with Texas trans surgeries, and all sorts of other interesting stuff, including Donald Sutherland passing away today. But we will get to all of those stories on the other side here. Make sure you're following the New American Media and the Agree to Disagree show in all of the places. We definitely appreciate that. And without further delay, here is the intro into today's program, the Agree to Disagree show.
Yeah. Welcome. We're back. Brian, did you get some water?
There we are. All right.
Yeah.
Good. All right, everybody. Please leave your comments in today's leave your comments about today's program in whatever format you are watching in. Kenneth is asking if this is the 90s. I don't know. Maybe it's not the 90s, but Blake, real quick off the top, Donald Sutherland. I know you lived in Los Angeles for a little while. I know you consume media content. Donald Sutherland, of course, is one of the most famous last names in Hollywood screen and cinema history, or television and screen history. Are there any roles that jump out to you as he passes away today, according to a statement released, I believe, by his son Kiefer?
Yeah, it's too bad. Sorry to hear, but he was definitely older. Still going. So, yeah, a bit of a surprise. It's sad. I guess the things off the top of my head are Animal House and Hunger Games. I guess. I know there's a lot more. People were saying Pride and Prejudice. I didn't remember him from that, but I didn't really see all of that. But I guess that was a big one. But, yeah, multiple decades. So, a huge career. Brian, what stands out to you?
Yeah, I guess the recency bias would probably take the day at this point. Hunger Games, he was the bad guy, and everybody likes hating the bad guy. And he did a good job in that role. I definitely enjoyed when he was on The Simpsons, something people don't really think about referencing. But he was great on The Simpsons. I think he was the curator of like the Springfield Museum or something. And they had Jebediah Springfield's fife. And there was like a scroll written inside of the fife. Man, it's been a long time since I watched that. We got Inception going on here. Let me scroll. I have a couple. Oh, it reset.
JFK was good. Looking at some of his top movies, Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, yeah, he just had a lot of different roles everywhere in all kinds of different movies. And, yeah, even as a voice actor. So, yeah.
This one here.
Movies I have, but I don't even know them all. I can't even see them all.
This one is his role of Sergeant Oddball in The Strange and Wonderful Kelly's Heroes. My dad loved Kelly's Heroes. One of his favorites. One of his quotes here. I'm drinking wine and eating cheese and catching some rays. And Nick Gillespie says, my father, who served in Europe in World War II, approved. Yeah, Kelly's Heroes is a good one. I'm wondering how much we could get away with this. It's a small scene from JFK, but, JFK is perhaps at the forefront of our public consciousness more now than it ever has been, with high-profile names like Tucker and more openly questioning if our own CIA were the ones behind taking out our damn president, because guess what? We watched it happen where the CIA took out our president 4 years ago through an all-out assault of 51 intelligence officials lying and whatnot. Let's just play a clip of this.
Something deeper, uglier. I know Alan Dulles very well. I briefed him many a time in his house. But for the life of me, I still can't figure out why he was appointed to investigate Kennedy's death, the man who fired him. Dulles.
Why would Dulles be appointed to investigate the death of the man who fired him? And then they later named the airport after him.
This, by the way, was General Wise' benefactor. We get out in 64.
And he played a small role in this, but it was a pretty powerful role.
Resigned my commission.
I never realized Kennedy was so dangerous to the establishment.
Never realized the president of the United States would be so dangerous to the establishment, Blake. Doesn't that ring true today with Trump?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They fear him getting involved, a man that they cannot control, because, yes, they had every reason. And I was just in Spruce Pine, North Carolina a couple weeks ago, and Mike Barra did a presentation. Mike Barra, author of and from Ancient Aliens, talking about JFK and the secret space program and how they might have. There's so many different players involved that wanted him killed, and including people. They said they were trying to work together with the Russians and Khrushchev to work on outer space joint missions and what have you. And then, of course, he pissed off the CIA, the Federal Reserve, APAC, the mob. Yeah, everybody wanted him dead. That was anybody. So
people weren't a fan of him being Catholic. All the Marilyn Monroe blackmail, like it really was like the center of a bicycle spoke, the center of a bicycle wheel. You know, you got 1,000 spokes coming at you from infinite directions. Every angle you look, someone's aiming at you. Let me just play another clip here.
Is that why?
Well, that's a real question, isn't it? Why? The how and the who is just scenery for the public.
Yeah, how and who. And Trump said he's going to declassify this, Blake, when he gets in office. Do you believe he's actually going to go through with this time? Because last time he said, if you saw what I saw, you would have kept it classified too.
I'm sure there's some pretty sinister stuff in there, and look, Alan Dulles would be one of the big culprits there. Yes, on the Warren Commission, in charge of covering it all up. They tried to blame it on a magic bullet. I've heard that maybe J.D. Tippett was one of the people that was the shooter, and then Oswald shot Tippett, and then Ruby shot Oswald, and then Ruby disappeared. But we know that this was a big inside job and a cover-up. And they killed a lot of witnesses, too, from that. Hey, no, I saw a shooter on the grassy knoll. Oh, okay, yeah, thanks for telling us. Oh, sorry, you died in a car accident. Yeah, there was a lot of just awful stuff. That just totally changed America forever.
Not in a good way. Yeah. Not in a good way. I mean, people wonder back, how long has it been since America has been a republic? How long has it been since we were overthrown? And you see what the dollar bill, the Federal Reserve note has lost 90, what is it, Blake? 96, 98%?
Over 97, yeah. Over 90.
In 100 years, it's lost almost 100% of its purchasing power by design. This is... Anyway, we'll wrap up this little clip here and move along.
Oswald, Ruby, Cuba, the mafia. Keeps them guessing like some kind of parlor game, prevents them from asking the most important question, why?
Why?
Why was Kennedy killed? Who benefited? Who has the power to cover it up? Who?
There you go. I mean, that's an epic moment from cinema history right there. With Washington, D.C. in the backdrop here, Stephen Miller says Donald Sutherland was just a king of cameos, Backdraft, and JFK. Got to go back and watch Backdraft. It's been a long time since I remember that. Of course, this is him playing the beatnik hippie tank commander, making it work. Anyway, we will move along to our main stories, but rest in peace, Donald Sutherland, a very acclaimed actor, and had the opportunity to meet Kiefer Sutherland on multiple occasions. Very nice guy. So condolences to the family. Okay, let's jump into today's main topics, Blake. Agree or disagree that the latest video of Biden and his SUV is just another cheap fake? Agree or disagree?
I am going to disagree. Yeah, it's weird that they're just gaslighting us with this new narrative. So don't believe your eyes. I'm sure that it's amazing. So we've got a lot of videos of Joe bumbling, stumbling. This one struggling to get into an SUV. We're just, getting stuck, getting frozen. We could put together quite a blooper reel of Biden over these last few years, and it's getting worse. And they're trying to cover it up, and now they're just saying, oh, no, that they're just the deep fakes, or now they're changing it to cheap fakes. I don't know. So, but I do know that there's full videos, and yes, AI is capable of making some pretty remarkable things to fool us, but this is not one of those events. In some cases, yes, but in this one, no. The Trump campaign is mocking Biden over the latest, quote, cheap fake video that shows him struggle to get into an SUV. Just the latest. It's been like every day this week, Brian. It seems like every day there's a new one.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at this latest video. It's in the thumbnail as well. So had a hard time getting into an SUV. All right, I'm shutting that off. That's. Oh my God. It's like they slowed it down, but everybody else is moving at normal speed. But yeah, this is just not the this is not presidential here. This is a struggling old man. And it's just, it's just at the latest one. Of course, we saw this, we ran this one. This was in France. Wandering off. The CBS News claiming the original of Biden wandering off was digitally altered, and they replaced it with the cropped version. It's pretty wild stuff. So we can run another clip here.
Probably heard of deep fakes, but just last week, as President Biden was at the G7 summit in Italy, cheap fake clips went viral on social media and were picked up by some news outlets. Take a look at this clip, for example. It shows Biden and other world leaders watching a skydiving demonstration before the president is seen walking away and looking in another direction.
I mean, even in that video, you can see he is wandering off in another direction, and they had to grab him. He's like wandering off.
Claimed that he was sort of just aimlessly wandering away. The clip amassed millions of views within just a few hours, when actually if you widen out, you can see that he was talking to one of the members of the military that was participating in that. He wasn't
talking to anybody. It was just like he was giving this awkward thumbs up, but he was like looking off into the distance and not paying attention to the paratrooper that just dropped down like everybody else was. And yeah, CBS posting a lecturing segment claiming the original video of Biden wandering was a digitally altered cheap fake. Then they replaced the original video with a tight cropped version, which is what we saw in this video.
So is that like a
zoomed out?
Is that like a RUPAR then? Where they lie about the fine people hoax, and they selectively edit? They intentionally edit to be deceptive.
Yeah, and this is just the regime trying to protect the commander in chief, but it's really sad. And yes, they even say it's a digitally altered video here. Why delete the original, then blur a video, and then alter it to counter your contention the original was altered? It's amazing what they're doing. And then of course you had here's the original video, which you can see zoomed out. They didn't show this one; they showed the tightly cropped one. So they're just deceiving their audience. Look at him; he's staring off. These people are looking at him, and he's like, awkwardly smiling, and he's looking off to the side, like he's gonna go either shake hands. And then she's kind of like, well, where's he going? What is he doing? Macron thinking the same thing. What is he doing? Then they got to go pull him aside. So yeah, we had the Hollywood video where Obama had to go rescue him. I don't have that one. We did play it in Tuesday's
there is a guy on the ground there, but like
but he's staring like above him. Yeah, and he's just kind of like he's not really talking to him. He looks like he's looking over him, and he's just like he's thumbs upping. It was very strange. But then they're just deceptive, and of course they all covered for him. They showed another edited video when he was at his Hollywood event, and Obama had to grab him because he's just staring off at the crowd. And then all the influencers came to the rescue and were saying, "Oh yeah, MAGA's lying." No, they weren't. So they're the ones that are lying. So it's amazing. So, and we just saw this one the other day as well. I mean, these are all within the last week. So here's another one. Brian, you shared this one. Joe Bot downloading update.
Thanks to all members of Congress and Homeland Security Secretary. I'm not sure you're going to do
What the fuck was that? Let's roll this again.
Thanks to all members of Congress and Homeland Security Secretary. I'm not sure you're going to do
That is not normal. for anybody, especially for the president of the United States.
What did I type for that one? Joe Bot downloading an update.
Yeah, he froze, and he's I don't know if he's reading the monitor. He's completely lost. He's clearly has issues. He's an old man. He's got dementia. We all see it, and now they're just trying to gaslight us. I guess they just ignored this one. What can they say about that one? So now they're trying to counter. There's an MSNBC contributor posting an image claiming Trump needed to be helped off stage. So if you can't defend your guy, then you can just go after the other guy. Oh, see? They'll pretend that one doesn't exist, and then they'll attack Trump for something because he grabbed somebody's hand, but he was just shaking their hand. So we're going to have to get rid of the Sam and Dave so we don't get copyright strikes.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Good job. Although I played the Sutherland clip, so I might get us yapped today. We'll see.
Yeah.
I tried to pause it and talk over it enough, so we're providing commentary on his life and a poignant scene that he was in. Made it newsworthy, I think.
Great. I hope so.
And who knows the rules anymore? There are no rules anywhere.
No, not that they play fair anyway. But so here's an example of them trying to play the games with Trump. Like he needed help off the stage, but it's clearly staged. He was just shaking this guy's hand. Oh, great. Now this thing is frozen. My computer's
the pinwheel
frozen.
of death. Yeah, my pages have been slightly not responsive today as well. Maybe it's because it's the summer solstice. That's breaking news, right?
Summer solstice? I don't know. Yeah, it could be solar flares. It's not Mercury retrograde. But yeah, they froze it here to make it look like, oh, he needed help off stage. No, he didn't. It was just the one time where he shook the guy's hand, and then they paused it to make it look like he was struggling when he clearly is not. Now, Joe, they would never let Joe walk on a platform like that.
Oh,
there's no way.
How many times has he fallen over? Okay, Blake, people are talking about the 3 different Joe Bidens and the skin at the necks and looking at it, wondering if this is a clone. Is this an actor? Do you entertain such theories from people out there? Or is this just an old man just sputtering on fumes in the gas tank?
I think it's an old man. I mean, why wouldn't they bring out somebody, if they were going to drag out somebody that would be all together with it, we wouldn't be laughing at these videos. There ain't nobody laughing. It's elder abuse, and it's just bizarre that they're actually trying to prop up this puppet president rather than just admit what we all notice and just say, hey, the president's struggling right now. And I don't know. The whole world sees through this. And their response is just a gaslight. And they, I guess, still considering trying to reelect this guy.
Well, I mean, they have waited so long. There are piles of logistical problems if they were trying to make a swap in the next. How many days are we away from Trump winning this election? 90 days? Like 3 months? When is it? It's June. So July, November, August, September, October, November. 5 months away?
4.5.
All right. So 140 days, 130 days or something. Yeah, I guess the logistics of swapping it. And by the way, you're starting to hear more rumblings of Hillary Clinton taking over. I made that unpopular contention a while ago because I think there's something to when the deep state gets you to commit as Secretary of State, like John Kerry. John Kerry ran against Bush. It's almost interchangeable to be Secretary of State, Vice President, President. And you saw all of them breaking the laws, having classified documents. Hillary had private servers at her house as Secretary of State, and they were getting hacked by enemies. Enemies were getting our foreign secrets. Joe Biden had secret documents. He didn't have classified clearance as a senator or as a vice president, and they're stored next to his crackhead son's convertible at his house in the garage, like completely wide open. It really is just running roughshod is a criminal organization. It's anyway. Hillary might be coming in. Kamala, Gavin, if you had to guess, do you think it's most likely to be Joe Biden in November?
I gotta say no. They've got to be talking internally, seeing all this stuff, and wondering if they can continue to get away with this gaslighting for 4 years. There's no possible way that he's going to get better. Yeah, they can shoot him up with enough meth for the State of the Union, maybe. But I mean, last time it got pretty intense, and I don't know how. We'll see how he does during this first debate with Trump, but it's going to take a lot more effort than they think to try to keep him going. And I think he becomes too much of a liability. They will have to replace him, which is who? I don't know about Hillary, man. She's got her own health problems.
Yeah, yeah. The years have not been kind to Hillary. Wearing those muumuus in public, the face melting off, looking like George Soros.
She was having like a stroke or something. Like there was a few times where she got like caught like staring, like flipping out, or her head was shaking. Like she had some issues. And of course on 9/11 when the karma hit her and she was stumbling and they had to shove her in that SUV. That was
yet another shaky SUV moment. You see how close the Secret Service gets. Like as you watched Biden walk in there, he got closer and closer in case he fell, like he was going to catch him. He was going to just gently get him into the, that's their job. Did you hear that a Secret Service agent got robbed in San Francisco when Biden was in town for a fundraiser, or in Los Angeles, in California somewhere? We didn't cover the story.
No, I believe it was in San Francisco. Yeah, for that event, that Hollywood event, or I don't know.
Unreal.
Fundraiser. Maybe it was Hollywood. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
we're living in strange times. Yeah, we'll see if Gavin Newsom gets the call, or if it's Kamala Harris, or if Biden somehow. I don't know. I mean, I it's not a wise strategy to put Biden up there, but it wasn't a wise strategy the last time either. I got very nervous when I'm watching what the Democrats decide to do, and they're like, yeah, we're going to run Biden again. And you go, oh my God, they have another way to cheat. There's no way they would put him up if it was going to be an honest election. Like, that made me very concerned. Am I reading too much into that? Feeble Knievel. Nice. Am I reading too much into that, Blake? Thinking if the deep state would put him up, like they obviously must have a trick up their sleeve? Because there's no way he could win in a legitimate election.
Yeah, there must be some reason. I don't know at this point, unless they want Kamala, or they're gonna. I don't know. I don't know what they're cooking up behind the scenes. I'd love to be in those meetings if I could, fly on the wall and see what they're actually doing. Are they panicking? Is this all strategized? Do they know? Yeah. Do they know what they're doing? Not know what they're doing? But it just seems like it's all compromised. And we're in a lot of trouble if they think that they're going to push this guy over the finish line.
No, there's zero chance. It would literally be unbelievable that he could even win 5 or 10 states. Like, literally unbelievable that he could. It should be a 50-state sweep if it's an honest election. That's my prognostication. Blake, Kenneth B. is alluding to Joe Biden's brain as being Abby normal. We were talking about Kiefer Sutherland and Donald Sutherland earlier today. Do you know what movie Abby Normal is from?
No, so I didn't get the reference.
All right, that would be Bride of Frankenstein. He reaches up to get a brain, and he takes the Abby normal brain. It's the abnormal brain.
Ah.
So that's why the creature goes bonkers, because he puts an abnormal brain in. Yes.
Oops. All right.
Another good point from Kenneth here. He's saying, we're wondering, where is the support coming from for the Joe Biden second term? He's being backed by Big Depends. He's being backed by big undergarments, big adult undergarments, big diaper. Big diapers backing Biden. Big diaper.
What do you think cleans his diapers? That poor guy. Is it Jill, or do they have a special assistant?
Yeah, good grief. Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
Like in France, like where he clearly seemed like he pooped his pants in France, and somebody had to clean him up. But yeah, can you imagine just being a part of that crew? The effort that they have to put in to prop up the puppet president is incredible.
Wow.
And why they just didn't replace him months ago and just say, yeah, he's just going to finish out his term, and then we're going to, have somebody else run. But they're actually going to stick him in this debate, so this should be very interesting. I look forward to that.
Well, let's see if we can even get to the debates if Merchan doesn't kidnap and imprison President Trump. Let's see how that all plays out. They didn't go to these lengths to not imprison him. Of course he's getting sentenced to jail. And if I were Trump, I honestly, I wouldn't show up. I would say I'm a political prisoner. I'd stay in Florida, and I'd ask DeSantis to send the National Guard to circle Mar-a-Lago. I'd say, Mullen Labe, come and get it. I would not let them kidnap me and take me to an Epstein facility. No thanks. Wouldn't do it. But we'll see how it all plays out. But let's shift from Biden being the nominee to how in the world could they possibly get away with finding enough votes to put him into the next term? That's our next topic. All right, Blake, agree or disagree that Democrats' plan is to cheat the election by protecting dirty voter rolls? What say you?
That's going to be, one of their strategies. They're going to try to, whatever angle they can go at it with, or any number of different opportunities that they can find, any loopholes they can exploit. So let's pull up this story. Just on this particular one, we've got the Mark Elias Law Group filing suit in Nevada to prevent election integrity group from cleaning up the voter rolls.
Wow.
This creature was Hillary's attorney in her failed attempt to win 2016. Later became famous for his work at the Democratic Party, ensuring that American elections are questionable and untrustworthy. He traveled the nation and engaged in numerous actions and lawsuits in an effort to establish the mail-in ballots and ballot drop boxes. And that that opened the door for all kinds of shenanigans and lack of chain of custody, whatever. But yeah, it's the open election strategy helped Biden and Democrats in 2020. They've been involved in dozens of lawsuits on all kinds of different things. Just to change the laws and make it easy to to meddle if somebody wanted to meddle. And they call it an election integrity, but it's certainly anything but.
Just like the Patriot Act is not patriotic, it violates our Fourth Amendment.
Right. So Elias Law Group, band of leftists, they've sought to intervene. Arguing with election administrators to follow the law, cleaning up the county's dirty voter rolls will threaten voting rights. Everything's about threatening voting rights or trying to disenfranchise voters, but it's really just election integrity. It's basic common sense that would happen in most other countries. So it's amazing.
You look at Elias, you look at Hillary, you look at John Kerry, you look at Barack Hussein Obama. I can't look at this whole situation as being anything other than Barack Hussein Obama's third and most honest term. It's the same cast of characters pulling the puppet strings. It's the same Soros funding. It's the same crap that we haven't been able to escape for 16 years. I'm old enough to remember a country that you could dislike Bill Clinton for a lot of reasons, but under his term, even into the new millennium with Bush, it was just the stuff that was promoted has changed so wildly under Obama. It's become so divisive intentionally, right out of the Marxist playbook. And you just keep looking at the same cast of characters here, Blake. The Democrat Party needs an enema more than I've ever seen any party in need of a complete revamp. And I think the only way it's going to happen is if they are completely demolished in the upcoming election. The only question is, do you think they will be? But Mark Elias suing Nevada, you lived in Nevada for a lot of years, to prevent election integrity? I mean, what type of recourse? Where are we at with this lawsuit then? This is a brand new thing. Are there any developments on it? What do we know?
This is the first I've heard of it, Brian. This is it. I know he's always fighting for, not, disenfranchising voters or what have you.
Man.
But he doesn't want people meddling around. Yes, these are all the different avenues that Republicans have been saying that the Democrats are exploiting to rig elections. They certainly could be. So why wouldn't we want to go through the voter rolls and make sure that everybody's got, registered to vote, they're living, they still live at the same address, basic things, basic procedures. But yeah. So we know that the Democrats will try to do whatever they can. Ends justify the means. And yes, Mark Elias is a very sharp individual. He knows what he's doing. And very effective for the Democrats.
All right. Well, let's keep an eye on Nevada, as this continues. But yeah, purging dirty voter rolls is something everybody should be doing always. That should be regular maintenance. That's not a special condition. It's not special circumstances. That needs to happen nonstop. And
no, because they know that they can use that against them. They can make dead people vote. Why wouldn't they? Who's going to force them to clean it up? Yeah, if we lived in a regular republic, if this was the America that we thought we lived in, yeah, it'd be great. But when these elections are very high stakes, people want to get involved. There's a lot of money there. There's a lot of these groups that can control politicians with the amount of campaign donations. So these people are bought and paid for. Yeah, they want to keep the voter rolls dirty. They can use that to their advantage. Absolutely. Some of these things can be swung just with 1,000 voters. So yeah, they have every reason to. So no, it's time to force them. Anyway, yeah, we know this goes on, and I'm not going to talk about 2020, but I will talk about 2024 because that hasn't happened yet. But they need to do everything they can to prevent them from exploiting loopholes to cheat.
What did kind of say? Mark is biased law group. Bias, not Elias. It's bias law group.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, let's not talk about 2020, Blake. If you said let's talk about 2024, how many states?
I don't want right. So saying me CISA. Oh, look up CISA to make sure that 2020 was fine. I'm not talking about 2020 being rigged. So let's talk about the Democrats are going to try to cheat in 2024. I'm not saying they cheated in 2020, but I'm saying they are going to find every exploitation they can, and they are going to do everything they can to cheat. They have to win this one. So, yeah, what can they do? They can't say anything, right?
Well, I guess they've eased restrictions on talking about 2020. But once again, Google, Meta, they don't give a shit. Those are completely CIA compromised deep state apparatus, complete garbage sites. They don't have any guidelines that make sense. They don't have any rules. So, whatever, go to CISA.gov. What is it? CISA.gov/
Don't need to, because I didn't say anything about 2020.
Well, let's talk about 2024. What are the 5 staged events?
These are this is an article I pulled out of Natural News here. These are just a little list here. 5 staged events the Democrats may soon put into motion to spare themselves the worst political defeat in the history of the republic. That was supposed to be last time, right? It was supposed to be, big red wave. It was going to be an easy victory, but then it wasn't. And then there were all kinds of shenanigans. So in a fair and just election, it is most likely Trump supporters and Americans vote in a landslide fashion to put Trump back in office and dismantle the evil tyranny that is besieging us all now. Trump would probably win by 40 million votes, and the Democrats would have to surrender to the will of democracy. How ironic. but you're probably not going to see them go down without a major fight, even if they have to do some dirty stuff, like keeping dirty voter rolls.
And by the
So
way, let me just add one counter or one one additional point here. If you take a look at the New American Media Instagram feed, we literally just as Blake was reading that sent something out. This is California's voter registration website, letting users register without a driver's license or social security number. State Representative Bill Asaley reveals that the DMV has improperly registered illegal invaders to vote and is immune from prosecution. And they ask, are they trying to rig another election? So keep an eye on that one, Blake. Sorry, I just wanted to add that because this isn't happening in one place, and we need Supreme Court jurisdiction to just step in and provide the 50 states with some basic guidelines of you may and you may not. Because, Blake, if states are rigging their own elections, we have no country. There is no country left, and a vote from Mississippi will not count if California is canceling it out. If New York's rigging what they're doing, it doesn't matter what happens in Nebraska. If there's not some set of guidelines for voting machines that Elon Musk has recently come out against and saying, just use paper. It's auditable, it's trackable, it's traceable, it's easy to follow. It's the most basic system. There's no need for potential vulnerabilities. He's in favor of that. The drop boxes make no sense. They're not under enough surveillance. They're not doing the signature verification to the standards necessary. All of that stuff has to be banned, or else we're not going to have a country. We've lived through 3.5 years of the biggest farce you've ever seen because they got away with it. They did whatever they had to get away with what they got away with. And here we are now. Sorry, I just wanted to add.
No, that's good. We're right on point. Yes, so I absolutely agree there. And they're going to try blanket amnesty, get all the illegals that they've let in through the open border and get them voting as well. They know, and they'll vote for their own survival just to stay in the country. So absolutely. If they can register people same day voting or 16-year-olds, felons, anything that they can do, they will exploit to their advantage. Absolutely. So, and if that stuff doesn't work, you could see some other staged events. Talking about the next pandemic that we've covered that as well. New bird flu or Ebola or a new version of COVID or what have you. And all of a sudden you'll get 100 million faked mail-in ballots. That could be done. We could see a terrorist event, which may or may not be staged by some 3-letter agency. Causing the grid down or an EMF or cyber, hack or what have you. That could.
It's not like there's 30 million invaders in this country ready to be activated as soon as they get their text. Strategically positioned across the country to wreak all sorts of havoc. By the way, how many of these are actual troops from other nations? Special forces, literal troops embedding themselves in a foreign nation, getting ready to activate on the command of Soros, Obama, the people pulling the puppet strings, all at the same time while we're drafting daughters and the best of our best to send them overseas while we're left completely unprotected at home. I mean, it feels like a gigantic setup as we play Russian roulette, literally, with World War III over whatever Burisma has been stealing in Ukraine. Want to add this as well. If you are following Meta, our Instagram page, The New American Media, just sent this one out as well. Here's a second one. Michigan Democrats just passed a bill to make it impossible to detect and challenge election fraud. The bill prevents the Board of Canvassers from investigating election fraud concerns brought by voters. Quote, today, Democrats overturned 70 years of election law in order to commit a disgusting gutting of our election recount protections. The passage of this bill is a complete disgrace. Take a look at that story and let us know if that's a proper interpretation or not. But it's happening in Nevada. It's happening in Michigan. Look what they're doing to Kerry Lake over in Arizona. Look what they're trying to do in Pennsylvania. It's the same swing states. They're trying to pull the same shenanigans, Blake.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is going to be very key. So we all know that Trump should win. But what will the Democrats do to try to take loose rules and play them to their advantage?
All right.
And yeah. And Brian, you brought up one of these as well, just not too long ago, 10 minutes ago. Judge Merchan, will he just jail Trump without bail, prevent Trump from campaigning, or have him suicided like Epstein? Of course, is also the assassination of Trump, which they would do if they could get away with it. And then, of course, just Biden dying, and maybe in this author's case, maybe Michelle Obama runs for president. So that could be one. I think, Gavin Newsom seems like the most capable if they think they can control him.
Capable. We
Yeah.
fled California for a reason, dude. That place is a mess.
Well, capable as though he could lie through his teeth and he can stand up there and is like a psychopath. And yeah, he could seem presidential in a certain way where Biden cannot. He's not going to be stumbling upstairs and involved in all these weird gaffes. And what are they? Cheap fakes. They don't need to cheap fake Gavin Newsom. They're going to have to fact check him. Yeah,
I tweeted out earlier today that Karine Jean-Pierre is the cheap fake.
Right.
I called Hillary the cheap fake too, and Biden the cheap fake. I'm just let's figure out how to turn this against him. This goofy phrase. Do not believe your lying eyes. 2 + 2 is 5. Right out of Orwell's 1984. So yeah, well, let's beware of these staged events, Blake. I mean, I don't know how much time we have before something happens, but it feels like we're all just kind of we hurried up and now we're waiting for it to happen. How bad is it going to be? Is it going to be a chicken flu? Is it going to be an EMP? I don't know. But
another big one. Right. Another big one is just right out of the Zelensky playbook, and you just suspend the elections because we're going to be in we're going to be in war. So might even be our own troops are going to enlist, put the draft back into effect. And yes, our troops will be over in Ukraine, and we're going to be involved in this war so badly that we're just not going to have the 2024 election. It's a time of war. They can just, who knows, maybe they'll just shut down the opposition parties and shut down, opposition media.
Kind of seems like that's what Zelensky did over in Ukraine, like the little tyrant that he is. Remember?
Zelensky, Netanyahu. Yeah, exactly. It's the same playbook.
It's not like we haven't had elections during wartime before. We will have them again. We will not let this be suspended. This corrupt regime has to be removed immediately. We're not playing these games. I don't know what they think they're doing. Like, they're really just going to keep pushing. They're just going to keep. This is really their best strategy.
Well, if they have to face consequences for their actions, if they were involved in some, bad things the last 20 years.
Which they were.
Right. They are desperate to stay back in power.
If there's retaliation, not ours. Like, that's their problem.
That's why they're going to do everything they can to win this election. If they got to start a war, fine. If they have to kill the opposition, fine. Whatever. Throw everybody in jail. Bring illegal aliens over the open border and give them citizenship so they can vote. Fine. They'll do whatever it takes. They have to stay in power.
It's too bad they're not going to stay in power. Too bad. Okay. Any other things that we expect to happen out of that list, Blake?
Nope. There's 5 there. I gave a 6th, and I'm sure there's going to be more. So that's just at least 5. 6 and counting. I'm sure they're cooking up things behind the scenes.
Like Fauci in a Wuhan lab. Okay, moving on. Next topic. All right, Blake. Do you agree or disagree? Let's get this off the screen, huh? The pundits are panicking about potential punishment when Trump wins. What say you?
Yeah, it looks that way. I haven't even watched this video yet, but I saw it, and I was like, yeah, we definitely have to cover that. So Glenn Greenwald put this tweet out saying he could spend all day listening to the paranoid, self-important liberal personalities like Maddow, AOC, Scarborough, and Joy Behar talk about Trump is coming to put them in camps or remove them from the air because they are such towering threats. Top-notch comedy. And here's Joy Behar fearing Donald Trump could pull The View and Rachel Maddow's show off the air in a second term. How seriously should we be taking that? So let's roll this clip.
So you said recently that you thought that you, as an outspoken critic, could be a target yourself. Some people think that sounds overdramatic, but I'm right there with you. I think that he is so vindictive that he will go after, however he has to, through the IRS, maybe.
Okay. Vindictive? Coming from the dirty Democrats who have been completely vindictive to Trump ever since he announced his campaign. Ever since he said, I'm running again. And they started framing him in Georgia, in Florida, in New York, and then in New York again. And I think in New York again. And I think in D.C. Vindictive. They always say the things that they are and project that onto their opponents. They are the vindictive ones that are causing this mess. They are the ones that put themselves into this position. Nobody else. Sorry, if you want to rewind it 5 seconds.
No, you're right. They're setting that precedent too. So, yes, they've gone after all the lawfare tactics. That is absolutely vindictive. They impeached him twice. Okay, we'll roll this again.
Could be a target yourself. Some people think that sounds overdramatic, but I'm right there with you. I think that he is so vindictive that he will go after, however he has to, through the IRS maybe, or even.
Oh my God! Hold on, I can't do it. I can't get through a couple seconds of this claptrap, Blake. Okay, through the IRS. That is what Obama was doing, targeting Christians, conservatives, Republicans, libertarians. He weaponized our Justice Department, our IRS, against the American citizens. On record, publicly, not even ashamed about it. She's repeating what Obama's been doing, what their dirty regime has been doing for 16 years. Oh, yeah, but now Trump's going to do it. You mean you're going to get a little taste of justice after the coup that you guys pulled? Trotting 51 intelligence officials lying to overthrow the sitting president of the United States in a coup, to commit treason against your country. Oh my God, there might be consequences for that. You're damned right there will be.
Yeah, there should be.
IRS. That's Obama's playbook. Those assholes.
Right, and don't forget they also wanted to have like 80,000 armed IRS agents.
My God, like. Do the viewers of The View not understand any of this stuff? Are they really that in the dark? Does anyone pay attention? Does anyone know what we know? Right. Or are we just living in a cuckoo clock? Because there's some days I feel like, oh, we got this. And then I'm just like, how are they not booing and hissing and laughing at her off the stage? I can't make it 3 seconds through the claptrap that she's spewing. I can't make it 5 seconds, Blake.
Right. Well, I hope the prosecutor is mentions those things and shows the evidence and brings the receipts when Behar is on trial someday. And they're going to go, why, did you say all this stuff? Did you just not knowing that this happened under Obama and that they were going to arm IRS agents and that you guys went after Trump impeached him twice and said he was a Russian asset and then committed lawfare, going, petty stuff, he turned into felonies, trying to ruin election interference in 2024. So I do want to see her held to account. A fair trial. But yes, and Maddow and a lot of these people that have been, mouthpieces for the regime going after their nemesis Trump. So yeah, she deserves whatever happens to her. So we'll continue to run this clip.
Sponsors to get us off the air, maybe, or you. Yeah. How seriously should we be taking that?
Well, so I was asked, am I worried about me? And my answer was, I'm worried about all of us. I'm no more worried about me than I am worried about everybody in the country. I think it's bad to have somebody saying, give me as much power as you can in this country so I can use it to go after other Americans. So I can use it to go after these.
Like the J6 people and
subhuman internal enemies and I'll destroy them.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not a good system for anybody. And I don't think anybody's
it's a good
safe.
system for people
That's
that love
the
their
system
country.
they want. That is the
It's a system for people that love their country and need to put you folks in jail who have had enough of your shit. Oh, no, it's actually a good system. Just give it, what do we got, 4 months, 5 months, Blake? 100 and something days?
Yeah.
We're almost there. Almost
And don't
there.
forget, they would have thrown us all into camp for, refusing the jabs if they could have gotten away with it. I mean, these people are monsters.
Lose your
Tyrants.
job, can't serve in the military, can't travel, forced injections, and all the people that are suffering now because of that. It's ghoulish. I don't know how people defend this stuff. I really don't.
Right.
If that's the sort of basis on which he wants to get more power.
Remember when Nixon had an enemies list? That was a proud moment for a lot of people if they were on the enemies list. Maybe we need to turn it around like that.
Nixon, that's a great one. You mean when you framed Nixon to get him out of there? Oh, you mean when Woodward and Bernstein made a big deal out of mostly nothing? You got Obama making Watergate look like child's play. 1 trillion times worse what Hillary Clinton did, getting the fake FISA warrants by framing Donald Trump with the okay, the wink, the nod, the nudge, the thumbs up from Barack Hussein Obama to go ahead and frame Trump for Russian collusion to get spy apparatus activated. The Five Eyes, I believe that was called. So they just called England or whoever it was, Australia, and said, hey, why don't you send us some information that so-and-so sent you a report of something, because then they're connected to Trump and then we can go get Trump. They're just offshoring all of their crimes. It doesn't matter. You orchestrated them in the United States. These are criminal activities. Watergate was nothing compared to what Obama and Clinton did to try to frame and sabotage Trump. And I've had it with them. Completely had it with them.
Right. And it's also interesting they forgot, they mentioned Nixon, but then Obama was also one that had an enemies list. And I just did a quick Google search and found a few of them. This one's from The Week. This one's from the Daily Signal. These are from 2012, 2015. In fact, they even wrote a book on it as well in 2013. Obama's enemies list, how Obama intimidated America and stole the election. I don't know about all of that, but I will say that he was well known for having an enemies list. But Joy Behar just completely oblivious. And it's amazing. Yes.
And by the way,
right.
Sorry, one more point here. Also, let's remember this. I'll leave the screen up. I don't need to pull up the screen, but I'll read it here. Enemies list of Trumpists and communists published by Biden-linked Ukraine group. Lawmakers charge. Senator J.D. Vance, a dark horse. I'm going to add this. A dark horse vice presidential pick, by the way. He might be the VP. Senator J.D. Vance and Representative Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz they're going after again. They will not stop trying to frame him. Calling on Secretary of State Antony Blinken to send them information regarding the Ukrainian NGO, non-governmental organization, by June 28. That's 8 days away. So let's see. This was from Fox. It says Matt Gaetz is demanding answers, along with J.D. Vance, from Secretary of State Antony Blinken surrounding a State Department-linked Ukrainian non-governmental organization that published a list of Americans labeled Trumpists and communists for their opposition to providing more U.S. funds to Ukraine. That's what Fox Digital exclusively learned. On June 6, 2024, a Ukrainian corporation, texty.org.ua, published an online article entitled Roller Coaster, From Trumpists to Communists, the Forces in the U.S., Impending Aid to Ukraine and How They Do It. The pair of Republican lawmakers wrote in their letter to Blinken, the title of this article oversells the product. It is a substantively thin piece, largely an excuse to smear a large group of Americans who have been skeptical of aid to Ukraine in one form or another. But it's being broadcast as part of coordinated media strategy that has all the hallmarks of a U.S. targeting influence operation. The lawmakers continued, identifying the names detailed in the article as an enemies list. Wow, this sounds really familiar. An enemies list coming from Ukraine about people in the United States, Republicans and libertarians. It's almost like If they're enemies of Americans, maybe we shouldn't be funding them. But what do I know, Blake? What do I know? So the list includes politicians such as Donald Trump, Senator Ted Cruz, Senator Tim Scott, Governor Ron DeSantis, or Little Ronnie D, as I call him, as well as groups such as, the Squad and the MAGA movement. Look at that. Squad ended up on this list somehow. They're making enemies lists right now because we want to stop the money laundering. We want to stop the genocide in Ukraine. You want to keep that G word. Let's talk about in Ukraine, where you're kidnapping people and throwing them into the meat grinder to get sent home in body bags. I do oppose that. And I do think that would be best solved with some negotiations and some peace. So call me crazy, Blake, but seems like the enemies list from Ukraine is something we should be talking about too. I don't think it's getting nearly the attention of Rachel Maddow and The View.
Nope, I don't think they mentioned that. I highly doubt it. So they're just going to focus on Trump's hypothetical enemies list. And of course, they're, mentioning Nixon, not mentioning Obama, not mentioning Ukraine. It's very selective. Again, I hope that when she's prosecuted someday, they present all of that at her trial. And I like to see her squirm.
Well, I think that if he decides that he's going to go after you or me or anybody who's well known, we have resources. We'll likely be fine. But I think there's a pattern where he picks out individual people and effectively terrorizes them.
Yes.
I mean, there's Stormy Daniels wearing a bulletproof vest to get into
It's ridiculous.
the courthouse. Right?
Once you have political violence, you have
the lady
fascism
that framed
following
Trump.
that.
The lady the whore that is framing the president of the United States, the guy leading in almost every poll in every state. From
so
all
you
of the
said
polling,
recently
she's wearing a bulletproof vest, not because of her actions lying about what happened to frame President Trump. No, it's Trump that's wrong because she's lying and she's scared that she's going to face a consequence of framing Trump. It's just if it's up, it's down. If it's left, it's right. If President Trump came out and said, it's going to be a wonderful day today, I look forward to wearing a tank top and some shorts, some board shorts, and going down to the beach. I'm telling you, the Squad and the rest of the lunatics on MSNBC and CNN would come out in galoshes, raincoats, and umbrellas. There's nothing that they won't do to completely pretend that the exact opposite of whatever Trump is saying is actually true. It's so tiresome. But it is predictable, and it is laughable if it wasn't actually so stupid and dangerous. I laughed at it a little bit more than I should have between 2017 and 2021, Blake. I did the math right there. In 2021, I just kind of laughed off more of this than I should have been attacking them verbally and calling out more of this stuff. I just thought, well, they're going to run out of steam sooner or later. They can't keep at this crap forever. Turns out they can.
Yeah, so I hope they get held to account someday for lying and misleading the American people. And
all right.
Basically pushing propaganda directly or indirectly on us. So, treason, perhaps. We'll see. We'll let the trial play out. But,
I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. Overdue. This is if there's anything more overdue than this, I'm all ears. I would love to hear how this is not overdue. Well, once again, welcome to Barack Hussein Obama's third and most honest term, with the Biden puppet just being the figurehead while they just run a third term of 4 years of destruction down our throats. Okay, well, let's move away from The View and let's talk about global leaders at the World Economic Forum. They're in charge, right? There are benefactor, or there are benevolent overlords, right? But is there a way that we should replace them? Let's talk about it. All right, Blake, agree or disagree that global leaders of the World Economic Forum should be replaced with AI when they die? Agree or disagree?
Right, because they are brilliant people that should continue to live. Even if they die, they should have their brains or minds uploaded into AI so that they can continue with their what would you call that? Philanthropy, maybe.
Yeah,
but,
what a fun word for rigging the world around you. Philanthropy. What a crock. Most of it is such a crock. I used to think it was so benevolent of Bill Gates and look back at Rockefeller and all the money they gave away. My God, what a cloak. What a cloak and what a crock. A cloak and a crock, Blake. Oh, that's tough to say. A cloak and a crock, Blake.
Well, it certainly turned out that way. So, yes, and we have Klaus Schwab. He's telling the World Economic Forum, the young global leaders, that their brains will be replaced with AI when they die in this old unearthed clip we found from 2022. So, actually, we'll roll it here off of Twitter.
Chance to look forward to a career of 50 years.
So you get a career of 50 years in your human body.
In my own opinion, yeah, maybe.
You're fresh out of college. Let's just say 25, couple things. Then you got 50 years of your career, but then it's 75.
Maybe more. You will get some injections, and
you'll get some injections,
and so on, and then don't forget your avatar will continue to live.
Your avatar will continue to live. So if you're one of the good philanthropists, they can just put you into some sort of an avatar. They can find a way to keep you around so you can rule over the peasants even after your old body dies.
So, and your brain will be replicated through artificial intelligence and algorithm.
Your brain will be replicated through artificial intelligence and algorithm.
So we don't know. But at least 50 years.
He's fantasizing about how we can continue to live. It's really creepy stuff.
Yeah, it's
very
it's
bringing
hubris.
It's handing the baton off, right?
Narcissism. I mean, what is it to make you think that you're qualified to run the entire world?
Yeah, they like to play God. They have all the money and power, and they buy up politicians, and they have influence everywhere, and they just become gods, and then they see us as overpopulated dumb animals, and they want to cull the herd, and it really is a problem. And these think tanks and these psychopaths getting together and plotting, the future for mankind, which would
what
not.
What do they say about the Libertarian Party, Blake? Libertarians plotting to take over the world and leave you alone. There's that classic theme of them sitting around a globe, plotting to take over the world and leave you alone. Wouldn't that be nice? It's like, I think most people, all they're looking for is to just have a chance to work and not work yourself into the ground and have some family and have some friends and live a decent life and just kind of be left alone. Most people don't want to play God. Most people don't have Napoleon complexes or maybe not Napoleon complex, but God complex, I suppose. People just want to be left alone, and they will not stop pushing normal people. It's borderline insane. But I guess if they keep getting away with it, they're going to keep doing it. And that's where people like Rachel Maddow, they're like, oh my gosh, do you think Trump is going to do this or that? It's like, well, if people won't leave the other people alone, yeah, something has to happen. There has to be a repercussion or a consequence to this stuff. And who the hell ever elected the World Economic Forum to anything in the first place? What jurisdiction are they claiming? They didn't vote for you. You don't represent us. Get on your horse and ride on out of here before that's not an option.
Politicians, right?
Yeah. So, all right. WEF equals WTF. That's a good one. I like that. That's pretty accurate. All right. So Klaus wants to live forever. Blake, you think that's a wonderful idea? Obviously.
Yeah, just great. I hope he does. They can upload consciousness into a supercomputer and he can rule the world.
Yeah. What is that? The Wizard of Oz, where they pull back the curtain. It's just a little dude. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. How are you going to rule posthumously? I guess those mummy movies are kind of like that. Like, oh, we uncovered a mummy tomb, and you open up, and it's like, ah, here I am, and I'm ruling now. It's like, I don't know. How are you going to rule from the other side? I don't fully understand that one, but more power to him, because we never elected you, and I don't answer to you. Good luck, Klaus Schwab. See ya. Wouldn't want to be you. Okay. Moving on to this, and this is our final story in Blake's stack, and then I'll just run through a couple that are on Twitter X. Make sure you're following Blake at TV's Blake Walley and the New American Media at American_Media_. All right, here we go. Next topic. Blake, agree or disagree that the San Francisco mayor should be disqualified? Let's just leave it at that. Agree or disagree that the San Francisco mayor should be disqualified? Agree or disagree, and tell me why it's in the news.
Well, that's complicated. So maybe he should be disqualified, but not for the reasons that are being specified here. So let's discuss this, because San Francisco is a failing city, and it maybe should just fall into the ocean at this point. But the San Francisco mayor is berating a Democratic rival for not knowing names of local drag queens during the debate. So did I get this story wrong? San Francisco mayor London Breed confronted her main Democratic rival Mark Farrell. So I got this whole thing wrong. The way that I set this up, Brian, I messed this up. I do apologize. What a shit show and a shithole that San Francisco is. So it's actually the mayor who confronted her rival and said, accusing him of failing to name 3 drag queens in the city. So apparently that's what the requirement now. So Breed sought to leverage her support for the LGBTQ community to sway voters during the mayoral debates Monday night with 400 people in attendance. So here it is. Mayor London Breed challenges a candidate, puts him on the spot. Well, how could you possibly run the city unless you know at least 3 drag queens in San Francisco? And when he couldn't, he ranted about how supportive he was of the community. So let's just roll a clip here.
I'd like to ask Mark a question.
So I'm sorry. I thought Mark was the mayor and maybe he has his own issues, but it's not. He's maybe a guy trying to bring some sanity back to a place that's lost its sanity a long time ago.
You were at the Harvey Milk LGBT Democratic Club and couldn't name any LGBT advisors to your campaign. You were at the debate last week and couldn't name any drag queens on your own.
Brian, how many drag queens can you name on your own?
Why is the word queen attached? Like there's some role of like royalty, achievement, ranking, responsibility, honor, integrity. Why is that name attached to people that dress in clothing typically designed for the sex not assigned to you at birth? Why is the word queen attached to that? Sorry, I'm just trying to
get lost in semantics. Well, we're just talking about just the fact that drag queens have been completely normalized. They've been around for a while, but usually they just do like these shows once in a, wherever in gay bars somewhere, and that's good for them. It's a fun little novelty, but now they seem to be taking on this new role in our society, and they're reading school books to children, and of course way too prominent in San Francisco, where I guess they're so famous that you should be able to just rattle off 3 names off the top of your head easily. and this
I don't know.
candidate is unable to. So should that disqualify him from running?
Maybe rattle off 3 founding fathers. Maybe rattle off your favorite 3 amendments to the Constitution. Maybe something relevant. I don't see how there's a relevance to city government in that regard. And yeah, I've bartended at places that had drag night. I mean, people do their thing. I've never cared. Like in the 90s, the don't ask, don't tell kind of thing was like, look, don't ask about it because their personal life is none of your business. And by the way, don't talk about it because your personal life doesn't belong here at work. Just let's keep it that way. People kind of think, oh, don't ask, don't tell. That was so restrictive. And it was better that you focused on work while you were at work and you left out your conquests and your proclivities, straight or otherwise. Keep that personal stuff to yourself. Things were so much better in the 90s. I can't believe we've entered this phase where, I mean, but good for London Breed. I mean, that's the game that person is playing. And by the way, the name London Breed sounds like it's straight out of a comic book, by the way, doesn't it? It's like right out of a Gotham City bad guy or something.
But
London
if you had a
Breed.
drag queen reading in front of your school and its children and their name was London Breed, would that surprise you?
No, 0 chance of that. 0 chance of that. So, okay, good on her. I mean, let's see how that plays in San Francisco, because we all know the most important topics in San Francisco involve people dancing on stage. Doesn't have to do with hepatitis being spread in the streets because of syringes and human fecal matter. Doesn't have to do with rampant crime and the fact that you can't park a car without having the windows smashed in about 60 minutes flat. No, yeah, let's focus on what people do on a performance stage, doing some performative interpretive dance. Yeah, that seems relevant to governing a city that's in a complete state of disrepair. I love the city of San Francisco in theory. I love the architecture. I even like the climate. I like that it's a little rainy and foggy. Kind of reminds me of some of those days in Ohio that I grew up in. But it's just a shame that they've let their city fall apart. And this current mayor just spending that much time on that issue.
What other major city?
Not a serious politician. That city has enormous problems with crime and with cleanliness. That's where your focus needs to be, not people's personal lives. Stay out of their personal lives. That's what I would say.
In what major city, anywhere on the planet, even a minor city, and that could be present or past, would ever have a question like that? You got a sitting mayor asking this new nominee who's actually running, who's the front runner, I guess, because he's actually coming off as moderate and, makes sense, I guess, after they've gone so fanatically far left that they've maybe realizing they need to kind of change things up there in this lost city of San Fran. And yeah, I was there a few years ago as well. Went through there, and yeah, it was once a great city, and it's just it's bizarre to see the rampant. What shocked me the most was the rampant homeless issue they had, and it felt like walking around the city like you were in their territory, like you were almost like you felt like you were trespassing. Like you got to be careful. There was just so many homeless people. So.
Yeah,
anyway.
I felt incredibly unsafe when I was there. I was constantly looking over my shoulder. Some people like to use a P word, like call you paranoid. It's like Nirvana sang a song and said, just because you're paranoid don't mean they're not after you. Got to find a better way. But like you said, you're in their territory. It's like a zombie movie. You turn the corner and it's like, you see a couple people doing drugs and they spin away from their tattered clothing and go, then they scurry off into the shadows like cockroaches. Like these are severely drug addicted, mentally unstable people that need some assistance to get on their feet. They don't own the streets, but they do. They will own the streets if you don't run your city and manage it appropriately. You can appropriate more funding for assistance programs. You can't ignore the issue and talk about dancing on stage. Name me 3 dancers or else I'm not going to take you seriously. I don't know. How about let's look at your track record of mayor and let's take that seriously. That's what I say. So, all right,
Brian, you got 9 minutes. So lightning round. I don't know what else you got left, but let's tear through it.
Let's do it. All right, let's pull that off the screen, if you will. Well, actually, let me see if I can do that. Lightning round. We're going to buzz through the Twitter feed at American_media_. Okay, so this is Disney, Blake. This is James O'Keefe. Let's see what he has to say and then see what Charlie Kirk has to say about it. So breaking. Senior Vice President at the Walt Disney Company details discriminatory hiring practices. So number one, is this the Senior Vice President at the Walt Disney Company? Sorry, it scrolled past it. Michael Giordano. Sorry, I'm going to have to pause it on his name. They keep moving it away. Senior Vice President and Team Lead, 20th Television, the Walt Disney Company. So this undercover video says nobody else is going to tell you this, says this VP here, Senior VP. But they're not considering any white males for the job, says Michael Giordano, Vice President of Business Affairs. Quote, there's no way we're hiring a white male. By the way, that appears to be a white male saying this. You know, it's always fun when once you get inside, you try to sabotage the opportunity for everybody else behind you. So Michael Giordano says there's no way we're hiring a white male. He reveals that Disney uses code words and buzzwords to avoid legal action and even mentions a candidate being rejected for not looking black enough. Giordano also admits Disney gives bonuses to executives for practicing diversity, equity, and inclusion. DEI means didn't earn it. Agreeing that diversity helps with financial incentives. Giordano further claims that he's been denied promotions due to his race. Look at that. So he's saying even I've hit the glass ceiling here because it's too woke. The response by Charlie Kirk here says James O'Keefe just shoved a legal dagger in the heart of Disney, exposing them to years of litigation that will hopefully cost them a fortune. Not considering any white males for the job. There's no way we're hiring a white male. Using code words to avoid legal scrutiny. Passing over candidates that don't look black enough. Disney is not only gay, it's racist. Cue up the well-deserved lawsuits. Blake, without playing the 20-minute clip here, what do you make of this recent undercover footage from James O'Keefe getting it done once again, exposing some really shocking stuff?
I appreciate what he's doing, but it's definitely not shocking to me at all. It's just, you know, I guess it's on record now from an insider in Disney. But no, they've been just awful for years. I've never really been a fan, so I wouldn't have any interest in working for a company like that. But yeah, no shocker there. Things have changed dramatically. They've destroyed the Star Wars franchise, and they've ruined ESPN. They screw up everything they touch. Where they used to, you know, have some dignity and they seemed interesting and have some good programming back in the day that I remember it. That was like a big deal, getting the Disney Channel on cable back in the 80s. But now it's a shit show. It's gross. It's anti-American. And now it's discriminatory in ways that we hadn't anticipated, I suppose.
Great. Yeah, it's pretty stunning stuff, Blake. And once again, this is the lingering effect of the Barack Hussein Obama effect. Roughly 16 years ago, Obama came onto the scene, and really America and the world has become a much worse place. Like I said, getting out of the Bill Clinton and George W. Bush days, I guess you could talk about George W. Bush saying in the aftermath of 9/11, maybe America went a little too hard at Islamic-based countries, but you could also have the retort saying when the imams are radically indoctrinating these people to have bloodlust to kill as many people as possible, as many Americans as possible. You know, some of that is stuff that they brought on themselves, but the Bill Clinton America didn't care about race. Like it just, we were past that. America was a post-racial society. We judge people on the content of their character, not the color of their skin. Yeah, Ellen, the TV show, there were some gay rights issues, and Matthew Shep, like society was still working out plenty of wrinkles to iron. But the fixation on divisive tribal race politics, this is a Barack Obama effect. Once again, seen clearly in the third Barack Obama term with Joe Biden as the puppet. So I guess I'll pause it there. I'll encourage you to watch that and share that. Disney, ABC, ESPN. You're talking Jimmy Kimmel, the woke ESPN garbage that they push nonstop, and anything Disney, including all of the ruined Star Wars franchises and the other weird stuff they're promoting. Look, it's time to vote with your dollars, people. Stop giving money to people that hate you and people that are blatantly racist, pushing the Obama I hate white people agenda, because that's what has been happening since he took the stage. And it's really a damn shame. I didn't vote for Obama, but I did say, look, if this does something to cure some of the racial woes that have been taking place in our society for a while, if this makes people feel a little bit good because they have some representation, because this president is half white and half black, what a great opportunity for our country to move forward past the racial strife. Look at this. But sadly, we've gone the exact opposite direction, and things have gone hyperbolically worse on the race relations front. Blake, did you have any other thought on that story before I?
No, we got to go. It's like lightning round. We got 2 minutes, and I got to go.
All right. This is
cool.
Representative Jayapal and Joy Reid chuckling over the abuse of a 13-year-old girl by an illegal. They say it's fear-mongering to discuss this. Your thoughts on this?
But there's a lot of fear-mongering.
There's a lot of fear-mongering. Absolutely. And I think it's kind of remarkable that the polls I look at, the national polls,
actually Americans still support immigrants. They
Yeah.
support immigration. It's just that they would like to see a system that actually
That's
works
orderly.
and that can keep them safe and secure. And all of us want that. And, I've been working on this issue for 20 years since
Yes.
before I came to Congress,
Yes.
in the streets as an activist.
Let me show you this is one of the reasons that people have these sort of thinking. Here's the three cable networks reporting of this. Was our banner said soon Biden announces legal protections for undocumented spouses and announces new protections for some undocumented spouses. Here was Fox's banner: migrant arrested for raping 13-year-old New York City.
Yes.
And so I think that's part of the problem, right?
Exactly.
Is that you have a
That's
lot
part
of
of the problem.
fear-mongering.
Exactly.
I'd love to know what her chuckle's about.
Yes.
And so I think that's part of the problem, right?
Exactly.
Is that you have
That's
a lot
part
of
the problem.
fear-mongering.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that we know that when people have economic insecurity.
Okay.
Great.
Fear-mongering, Blake. They don't consider it relevant that nobody's being screened and you're letting monsters in to abuse the kids of our country. They're just kind of chuckling about it. What say you?
No, Fox was absolutely right to have that. The way that they're trying to basically make it sound like there's nothing happening. It's like big deal that there's open border and that there's issues. They're not talking about that stuff. They sweep that under the rug, and Fox is the only one covering it. And Fox has a lot of issues. Don't get me started on Fox.
Yes,
plenty of things to criticize about them as well. But no, they're absolutely in the right on this particular issue, and it's shameful that they aren't telling people what's really happening and the consequences of having open borders.
Agreed. It's beyond criminal negligence / treason that any of this is happening. Your number one responsibility is the basics here. Just the basics. And that's screening out all of the poison before it enters the country. Poison. People there was just a grandfather that was offed by a person that was 16 times deported from this country. For the love of God, keep the poisonous people out and immediately fire the ones that refuse to do their job. Okay, I guess we can pause it there until our next program, Blake, which will probably be Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Any final words, any thoughts, stuff you're looking forward to on the weekend, final ideas, comments, quotations, positive vibes, anything to leave us with for the weekend?
No, none of the above.
Perfect.
Well,
Tell us where we can find you.
Tuesday show. You can find me on TV's Blake Walley on Twitter X, or the archive is always on thenextlevelnews.com. Brian, do you have anything interesting plans this week?
It's just that to-do
okay
list.
if you don't. It's okay if you don't. It's all right.
No, there's 30 things on the to-do list.
We'll see you Tuesday, right? Okay.
It's just a matter of which gets the priority on which day. Some things are multiple hours. So I don't know. I feel like progress is being made, and I'm looking forward to the nice weekend. It's been in the 90s for like a week straight. I don't know if it's as hot where you're at, but it's definitely been a scorcher. So I've been working in the garden. I've been trying to level things up. I built a double drainage irrigation thing with 2 hangers, the gutter systems on some posts. I had to buy a post driver, a pile driver, and I attached 2 of them, and I'm gonna put some plants in there and get them up so the rabbits and the squirrels aren't getting to them. So I'm doing a lot of gardening, Blake. I'm looking forward to some more gardening, to harvest more water, grow some more food this summer season, and I encourage everybody else to do the same. Okay, well, that's all I got, Blake. I appreciate you as always.
Thanks, everybody. Kenneth Dreamer and everybody else, and everybody listening on the replay. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Blake. And thanks to Dreamer Ultra there, saying thanks for doing the real news. We definitely try to do that as best we can. All right, Blake, to be continued, sir. You have a great one.
All right. You too. All right. Later.
There he goes, everybody. TV's Blake Walley. Make sure you are following him on X. Now, the New American Media is also asking that you find us and follow us in the places we are. So here's where we are. As Kenneth likes me to remind people, if you would like to donate to the New American Media, you can do so by going to Venmo. It's at Brian Engelman, BrianEngelman. I always forget to say that one. Let me give you Blake's. He's got a Cash App because independent journalisming definitely takes a million hours to become this knowledgeable on these topics so that we can we get 500 stories a day. Which ones are we going to deliver to you? But if you follow us on different platforms, you will get different news on different platforms. If you're on our Instagram page, you're going to get different jokes, you're going to get different comics, and you're going to get different little stories in our shorts. Each day, we kind of put different content out at different times. So make sure you're locked into all of the places. But if you want to help Blake out with his independent journalisming, he's on Cash App. That's $ Blake W99 right there on the screen. Blake W99. That's where you find him. If you'd like to help the New American Media, aside from Venmo, we're on Patreon, patreon.com/the New American Media. You can sign up to be like a $5, $15, $100, $1,000 monthly supporter of what we do. And your contributions do make a difference. They really do. So thank you for that. I want to ask you to follow us on Instagram. The page is The New American Media. Facebook, we have a page, The New American Media, and a lot of groups. You can find the groups by searching TNAM. And there's one called TNAM's The Agree to Disagree Show. We cover all of the news in that group. It's a great private group. Search it and find it. When it asks the question, how did you find us? Say, Brian invited me. And then that'll get you past. We will let you into the program. Of course, on X, we are at American_media_. Considering getting one of those check marks. Elon has definitely become a master at giving you features and then taking them away and then trying to charge you for them. I play a game on my phone. I play Risk, the game of world domination. And when I've played it for years now. My cousin got me into it, and I enjoy it. You get to play games nationwide, all sorts of different maps. I love the game of Risk, always have. I wasn't always good at it in the beginning. I kind of had to figure out the rhythm to it. I was too aggressive up front. I needed to stay and stabilize forces. But of course, 2-player games are way different than multiplayer games of 3, 4, 5, 6 variety. But yeah, I played that game pretty much unencumbered, and then they took away a bunch of features and said, hey, buy this package for just X amount of dollars, and you'll have access to all these features. I'm like, you mean the features I just had? Come on, that's not cool. But Elon definitely took away the analytics for the New American Media's page there, our account at American_media_. So I am considering getting the blue check mark. Plus, I do want to thank Elon for giving us at least one major platform where we have permission to speak freely. Okay? So follow us on X is the point I'm getting at. On Telegram, we need more people to find us and follow us on Telegram. We're at TNAM and TNAM Chat. On Signal, we're TNAM and TNAM Official, I believe. Looking for more subscriptions on Rumble. Excuse me. Rumble, we are thenewamericanmedia.com. Find us there. On YouTube, youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. We got 1,400 episodes, and our videos are duplicated from YouTube over to Odyssey, Odyssee. Also, our homepage, thenewamericanmedia.com. Still awaiting its major revamp. Probably should have, could have, would have done this a long time ago, but it's not really the thing that I do. I like finding and sharing stories. I like talking about them. I don't like to sit and copy code and then log in and then you got to post it and then you're trying to copy the same. It's like, just hit share. That takes 2 seconds. The other way takes 2 minutes. I just don't update the main website. But if the world goes to hell, that will be the one place that I get to control. And that will be the one place where we can upload our content, thenewamericanmedia.com. And also on Truth Social, The New American Media, and subscribe to our podcast, The Agree to Disagree Show, on Spotify, wherever fine podcasts are delivered to you. So that's what I got for now. Special thanks to Blake Walley. Special thanks to Dreamer and Kenneth and everyone else in the chat universe. Also want to say, I got to pay to get Elon. Pay to get along. Pay to get Elon. Also, just want to say over to Jocelyn. Send this out to Jocelyn. I hope you're feeling better. We're praying for you and pulling for you. Get better, kiddo. We miss your wisdom and wit in our comments section. All of your comments are awesome. Blake and I talk, and it's like, I don't know. I've known this guy for 15 years. We talk all the time. But like you guys, I don't know you as well. So like your comments just kind of hit different. It's just a different mix of ideas. And I love that blending. I think it's one of the things that makes the news in 2024 fantastic. For as many problems as we have, I love the instant reaction that we can get from you. You had so much context to stories. I like your jokes. I like your support. Even when we get a couple trolls in here from time to time, because we do and we will and whatever, it's paid sock puppet accounts or just general jerks. It's good. It's good to interact. It's nice to know that your message is being landed, that the delivery is landing on ears out in the universe. So thank you to everyone. Please, on today's summer solstice, charge your crystals and have a bonfire and set a meditation space, and just full moon coming up. I believe that's tomorrow. Just all the things. We assume that we have decades and decades and decades and decades ahead of us, right? Maybe we do. But if we don't, let's just take today and let's work on today. Let's see what we can do today together. So find our group on Facebook, TNAM Grow Something, TNAM for The New American Media, TNAM Grow Something. Like I said, I'm setting up more irrigation. I'm setting up more water catchment. I'm sealing off with mosquito netting so that we're not turning collected water into breeding grounds. That's been nearly a game changer. Still too many, but we're working on it. And definitely got to ramp up the food production. It's the best laid plans of mice and men, I'll tell you. You blink and summer's here. Totally skip through spring. That's not to say I haven't been doing a lot of productive gardening, but trust me, I can do more. So take your Moldavite, hang it out in the sun, charge this thing up, because it's the summer solstice and we don't know how many more of these we're going to get. So let's have a good one. Thank you to everybody. I do plan on doing more shows aside from the Tuesday and Thursday show. I don't know exactly what time. I don't know exactly what topic or if we're going to have guests and how that's going to look, but be prepared for more content coming your way. Maybe some special guests. The way we used to do this program was a lot of special guests rotating in and out. And I do hope to do some more of that again in the near future. So stay tuned. I appreciate you. I love you. Get outside in the sun and grow something this weekend. We'll talk to you again soon.